What's up, Fantasy Goats? How are you this evening? It is your shepherd. I'm joined by the Commissioner Rhino. And then we got a hell of a show for you this
Yes, we do.
evening. We've got a very special guest who's got his finger on the Dynasty Pulse. We will get to him. I will bring up our special guest in just a few moments. Just a couple of house cleaning procedures to go through before we begin this event. Um, the next week, folks, we're gonna kick into some mock draft gear. That's right, a mock drafts for the month of May. Mock draft May. I just came up with that.
Let's go. Ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, we're right in the heat of it. Many of us that are playing Dynasty are doing their rookie drafts. As a matter of fact, I just completed a rookie draft. Literally just completed one about an hour ago. So yeah, we'll get into some mock drafts. And then from there, just, guys, just look out for all the rest of the content this off season. Don't miss a thing. The mock drafts, the player rankings, the player debates for fantasy. We'll break down the divisions, how each team improved themselves, and the fantasy outlook for players from these said teams, all starting next week. Just subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and that's all you got to do.
Help us get to 500, please.
Yeah, we got a sub goal.
We're on the road to 500 right now.
The big Hussot himself is right here, ladies and gentlemen. The GOAT of GOATs is ready to rock and roll. Rhino, are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready, man. You know that. I've been hyped about this since we talked about it.
I mean, I can't. Yeah, man, this is great. We were just talking to this guy before we hit the live button, and I am excited. I am excited because you got the sense, like, this man's just got buckets and files and just like chips of data on Dynasty Fantasy, and he's gonna deliver it to us, Goats.
Get your notepads out. Take notes.
Yeah. All right, so
you'll be a better player by the end of the night.
We're always looking to be better. That has got to be the motto, tagline, marketing of this outfit, this channel, of this brand. We must always look to improve. We must always look to get better, and that is the key to success. We are getting better at football. That's right. If we get better at football, guess what? You're gonna get better at football.
Mm-hmm.
All right, long overdue, ladies and gentlemen, goats and does. We bring you the architect of the Dynasty Pulse, Dynasty Pulse, Joe Portsmouth. There he is. Yeah.
I am cracking up at that intro. You are you've clearly got the podcasting or live stream talents. That was a hell of an intro.
Oh man, please don't make me blush, Joe. Please. If you wouldn't believe the stuff that's on the wall in front of me, okay? Like old school, like pieces of paper with scotch tape and this over here and that over here. I've got a second monitor, for crying out loud, over here. I don't even like it, but it's here. And it's look, I appreciate those sentiments, but please, Rhino, I mean, what do we get to first? I mean, like, look, I kind of feel like we should let Joe kind of steer this ship. I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about the Dynasty Pulse. Tell us anything that you want to. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so like we were chatting a little bit before we hopped on. I'm from New York City. Got the Knicks game up on the side over here. Can't got to make sure that they close it out tonight. But yeah, born and raised in New York. Grew up just outside of the city. I've always been a big fan of fantasy football. Last couple of years started getting into Dynasty football. And yeah, Dynasty Pulse is kind of just a fun side project that started out kind of towards the end of last season. Basically, the whole premise is there's not enough time in the day to either read all the articles, read everything on Twitter, watch YouTube videos, podcasts, you name it. So yeah, I'm slowly but surely trying to come up with a system that summarizes and pulls out all the most important insights in a fraction of the time. And so I've made some good progress over the last couple of months. It's been a lot of fun to just work on building around the newsletter as well. I get so much joy out of writing that every week. Gonna start bumping that cadence up to 2 times per week. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's funny because I ran across Dynasty Pulse on Instagram. Their Instagram game is on point. I'm telling you that right now. Hit the learn more. It's like, okay, learn more. And I just like, okay, this is for me. I subscribe. I'm a premium subscription holder. And your stuff, I love how it is because it simplifies everything. I can't, like for me, I can't sit and watch videos all day long, like in my job. I just can't. But to be able to go there and look at certain newsletters and stuff, and the different like fantasy guys and and everybody else, it just simplifies everything. And I love it. And how can people subscribe to it?
Yeah. The easiest way is to just go to dynastypulse.com. There's a email form right when you land on the homepage. And that'll get you signed up for the newsletter. And got a bunch of free goodies that come with it when you sign up. Things like rookie draft, cheat sheet, rankings, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very on point.
Let me see if this works.
So who are let's get into Dynasty. Who are the rookies that you like?
Of course, it doesn't hyperlink.
So I was thinking about this since the draft, and the one landing spot that I was so curious going in was who's going to go to the Denver Broncos. And there was a lot of hype around, like maybe it'll be Genty, Omarion Hampton. But RJ Harvey landing there was surprising, but also really think that was just like that bolsters his fantasy outlook a lot, and in Dynasty too. The history of Sean Payton drafting running backs earlier in the draft it's kind of well documented that he doesn't do it very often. The only times that he has done it were Reggie Bush in the first round,
right?
Ingram in the first round, and Alvin Kamara in the third round. And they took Harvey in the second. And so if you just think about like those 3 guys and now him being the 4th, like it just shows me that the coach has a lot of confidence in him. He doesn't have a lot of, serious competition in the backfield. I was reading that like even, like his, history of success with smaller backs like Darren Sproles and Alvin Kamara, Harvey kind of fits that mold too. So like all those things combined make me like really bullish about him. One thing that I've been doing over the last couple of months is tracking rankings, risers, and fallers. So we have this consensus aggregate Dynasty Superflex rankings that we're looking at 6 different sources from around the industry, like Fantasy Pros, Keep Trade Cut, a couple of others. And we aggregate all of their rankings into one kind of master set of rankings. So there's no bias that you're getting from any of the other publications or sources, and you're getting kind of like where the industry consensus is shaking out. And he moved up 78 spots from pre-draft to post-draft. So like, that was one of the biggest movers by far. That moved him up to RB27 and right around like that end of the first, early second slot in rookie drafts. So, I mean, if you're getting him in the early second, that feels like it could be a home run type of pick.
Right.
He'll probably keep rising throughout the offseason.
RJ Harvey was a 1.09 in the rookie draft that I just completed. 1.09. I know that because the pick before I took Caleb Johnson. Let me ask you something. If RJ Harvey is rising as much as he has based on the landing spot, What's the adverse effect? Who's the player that is now fallen out? Is there data on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, moving up that many spots, like he is jumping quite a few people. In that particular range, I'm trying to see, like, I'm pulling it up on the side right here, seeing who might have fell.
Maybe nobody fell.
Yeah, sometimes like someone can jump up a lot of spots just by virtue of like a really great like change of scenery or whatever it is, or like injury to another player.
That's all right.
Yeah,
we're gonna chalk it up to nobody fell.
But
well,
yeah,
I mean, look, even if I mean, I think the idea is like, okay, so like RJ Harvey may have like moved up that many spots. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that a player X fell 27 spots. That doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah, so like I got it up here, and in that range of 78 spots that he jumped up, there are 3 fallers that stand out. Like people move like, I consider anything less than 10 spots, like specifically in the hundreds, when we're getting into overall 100 plus, like it's not that huge of a move. That's, not even around in a 12-team draft, like startup draft. But some guys that dropped 20 plus spots, Najee Harris, that's a pretty obvious one with Omarion Hampton. Shadur Sanders was obvious. He dropped a lot on draft day, and he dropped the rankings. And then Jalen McMillan was another one. He dropped 28 spots because of the addition of, I think it was a Mecca Ibuka. Yeah.
They're saying everything I'm reading about that too is they're looking at Ibuka's going to be starting.
Yeah.
Over McMillan, which that just makes me sad. I was a McMillan guy. What do they look into to make him rise and fall? I mean, because I'm just now starting to understand analytics and all that kind of stuff and ADP, because I think it was like 2 years ago when I was on a space with the Shepherd, and they were talking ADP. If I was like, what's ADP? So they told me, it's like, okay,
it's the carry system.
Yeah, I've always done, just look, watch film, watch college, watch preseason, and then go off that. So I never went off ADP. So what makes them go up and down without like even training camp, seeing film in training camp and see if they're actually going to be good?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like all narrative based. So, in the off season, it's what players are moving teams. Like that is one of the biggest things that's going to cause rankings to change, is players changing teams.
Right.
The draft landing spots is obviously another example. But then even, as you get closer to the season, it starts to become more about like, who's the guy in the best shape of his life? That, there's always a couple of those guys every year. And just by that narrative, they will slowly creep up boards. Like around this time, rookies are inherently going to rise more likely because of all the hype that's being talked, like, because that's all that people are talking about right now. So it's like in those times when, it's almost like you kind of want to sell the news in some cases, like who are the people that are being slept on, like veterans that are everyone's forgetting about, that are in great situations and things like that.
Like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, he creeped up a little bit. I think he moved up like 13 spots after the draft, but he was someone, I have him on my Dynasty team, and I know that going into the NFL draft, I was very nervous about who the Bears were going to take. I thought for sure, like everybody was nervous. Yeah, every mock draft had Genty or whoever. I think they were the favorite to land him. So I was relieved that it kind of shaped out the way that it did. But yeah, if they don't add anyone else in the offseason, he's in as good of a situation as he could be in, in that offense with the new head coach and everything. Like, I don't know. I'm getting a little too excited. I don't want to get my hopes up.
I know.
In the past.
Well, yeah, especially because I saw something that I think Chubb might be going there. But I think if he goes there, he'll be their goal. He won't be their every down back. Maybe goal line. Depends on how much he's recovered, man. But that's we'll see, because he lost his stuff last year.
Yeah.
Speaking of narrative based, I mean, like, look at how we all were working under the assumption, which may still be wrong, that Ben Johnson didn't like DeAndre Swift, or you connect Ben Johnson to DeAndre Swift in 2022, and it wasn't very successful. Now they don't draft somebody. All of a sudden, DeAndre Swift is now probably RB20, RB21, 22, something along those lines. So, yeah, I mean, narrative based for sure. And now, if they do bring in someone, then that may change our narrative again. Like, oh, well, see, figures. He may not like him, or there's still another running back there. There's still Roshan Johnson, who may be the guy. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to anoint DeAndre Swift yet, just because we do have data from 2022 and Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator. Now, yeah, granted, DeAndre Swift did have a little bit of injury that season. He didn't have a very good season. When he was back on the field, he was an RB2 behind Jamal Williams. So, I mean, we do have information there. Let's see.
Now, in 2022, I don't think, was Ben Johnson the OC then, or was he? Because I know he got promoted because the first OC got fired within the first half of the season. I can't remember if that was 21 or 22.
I'm pretty positive. I want to say 98, 99% he's on staff.
Yeah, he was on staff. Yeah,
he's on staff. So I'm not, to your point, whether he was the official OC or not, that might have been 23, or it was definitely in 2022. Because remember, 2022, I believe that's also isn't that Campbell's first season as well, or maybe that was 2021. They were this close. They were a game away from making the playoffs in 2022. They stopped the Packers from making the playoffs with Rod. That was Rodgers' last game. And the rest is history. Yeah, then that team is where they are today, pretty much. And Ben Johnson is where he is today. Yeah. I want to get to the Husots question, because I know he's burning inside. He's smashing things in his room. He just wants to start drafting. He wants to start drafting, and he's got a conundrum because he does not play IDP. And we have a particular unicorn in Travis Hunter that we're all waiting. Speaking of information, Joe, we're all waiting to hear what this is going to look like. What is Liam Cohen going to tell us in terms of how they're going to play Travis Hunter? Is this a man, in your estimation, that is going to be more full-time wide receiver than he will be DB? Because from what I'm told by Rich Eisen and all of his special guests, because it's not what I'm being told out of Jacksonville, but from what I'm hearing, what I'm reading, it's a lot harder to go from full-time wide receiver to playing a certain much smaller percentage of defensive back. It works the other way around.
Yeah.
It could work the other way around, where you got the package of plays on offense while you're a full-time defensive back. Give us your thoughts on this special individual.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think I've heard very similar things in that going to the NFL and having to be in meetings and learn the offensive side of things and defensive side, it's got to be extremely difficult. From what I've heard is that most people think that it's there's no way he can do a full complement of both. It would be too much.
That's right.
So then if you just think logically about his career, you would think he would stand to make a lot more money as a receiver. Like probably would get a lot more endorsements and things like that. Like the receiver it seems like the better career move. So like I feel like they're gonna use him more in that way. And everything that I've read about him too, in like his talents as a receiver he is like a smooth operator. Like he comes off the ball like Justin Jefferson. Like he's got that same type of like twitchiness where it just like it looks like it comes really easy. I'm not saying that he's gonna be as good as them. I don't really have any basis to make those types of claims, but I think there is a really strong argument that he's the best receiver in this rookie class. And for most of the offseason, I think people have been putting Tet McMillan in that conversation. But I would take a long, hard look at Travis Hunter at 2 over him. I mean, you could also argue you could take Omar Hampton or at the 2 spot, but I think like he's obviously a very special player, and it'll be interesting. Like the longer that you can prolong those rookie drafts, and maybe see some of it on the field in the preseason, that would be helpful, or like even get some reports on what the coaches intend to do with him. But I think that the interesting thing for me that I've heard is that in college, I believe, and I hope I'm remembering the story correctly, but from what I heard is that he was taking meetings. He would spend his time in the defensive meetings and would not really learn anything about the offense. Like he was just like kind of going out there. I mean, he was obviously learning some of it, but he spent much more time on the like defensive prep side. So you wonder how much adjustment he would need to make going to more receiver. I have no idea, but it's one of those things to keep in mind and watch for news about it.
His route tree probably isn't that good. Because I watched a lot of Colorado.
Yeah,
because I like Sanders, and I liked the whole situation. Plus, it's fun to watch even their opposite line stuff.
Shador.
But he ran a lot of go routes and short routes. Some like wide receiver screens because of his twitch, because he could catch and go.
Yeah.
So and he probably played. I say he probably played 65% defense and 35% offense for most games.
Yeah.
But even the games he would play 50 and 50, man, he wouldn't get winded.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling him what, the Shohei Ohtani of football.
And he is. I mean, the last person we saw something like this from is Charles Woodson, but Woodson didn't have the receiving qualities that Hunter has.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit. I'm sure he's a fantastic athlete. He's a unicorn. I don't think he's going to be able to play 100% of the snaps at an NFL level.
No.
Right? I mean, like, let's call it what it is. This is a different level of football. B, then we have to see what kind of wide receiver. Like, if he were to decide based on whether it's money, whether it's whether he excels at being a wide receiver over being a defensive back in the NFL, then we got to see what kind of wide receiver he's going to be now for fantasy purposes, because we are talking fantasy, right? For fantasy purposes, he plays alongside of Brian Thomas Jr. Now, let me ask you. Let me ask everybody. I'll ask this question until I see it with my own eyes. Is he now supposed to surpass Brian Thomas Jr. for targets? Is his production going to surpass Brian Thomas Jr., or is it? Okay, Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy. Brian Thomas Jr. is Brian Thomas Jr. And Travis Hunter is Rhino, for lack of a better word. Joe, and I'm going to share with Joe my affinity for Devontae Smith, the devote himself. Does Travis Hunter become a Devontae Smith 2.0 to 3.0? You know, so like I mean, like, let me put it to you this way: Dynasty, just my taste. If I had that high of a pick, 102, 103, I'm probably not even going to take him. I'm not taking him because you just said, like, if we could wait to draft to, like, you know, maybe July, August, that would be a good thing. But the chances of you getting 12 Dynasty junkie addicts like myself to wait to draft is not that good, right? It's not that high. So, yeah, because I just finished the draft. That's how I know. B, I might as well take the running. Draft Marion Hampton. draft Travion Henderson,
Yes,
who landed pretty well. Right? I mean, this is a strong running back class, right, Joe? Isn't this this is a strong running back class? This is not considered a very, very strong wide receiver class. I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well. See, that's my take on Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, who soaked for redraft purposes, and we're gonna have plenty of time to discuss that. This dude is gonna be this is someone that you drafted as a wide receiver too. What else is there? What else is there to it? That's just crossing our fingers that he's more full-time wide receiver than he is more full-time defensive back.
Right.
Or just play IDP. And then we're all out of business at that point.
Easy on that. Easy on that.
Yeah, you could start starting.
Yeah, I got a league starting.
Yeah, you do have.
Hussein's in it too.
Is he? Oh, good
Yes.
for you. Good for you guys. Yeah, Travis Hunter's top first pick then. All right, yeah. So what was I get? Yeah, Travis Hunter. Yeah, unicorn, great dude. I don't know what to make of him. I don't know what to make of him. For everything that you just said, Rhino, for everything that Joe just said, it's basically it's a big, huge question mark, as if we didn't have enough of a question mark when it comes to these guys to begin with.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I feel like it comes down to team need too. So, you know, if you're going into the draft and you really need a running back, like, you know, this is the draft to do it. But if you're coming in and wide receiver is your biggest hole, I think Hunter is, you know, you got to take a long look at him because I think there are a lot of more question marks for the rest of the class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he has question marks himself, but I mean, it's a tough class, I think, for wide receivers. Like last year, I was reading, and I've experienced this too in my own league. Like the people that loaded up on picks last year and went wide receiver heavy, and then also we're rebuilding this year and are loading up on running backs. They are deep at two crucial positions for years to come. It's just funny how it has.
And it's actually pushing the tight ends and the quarterbacks down to the 8th and 9th round. Too, right now, which it's weird drafting running backs that high, you know.
Yeah.
But for this class, you're going to have to, you know, because otherwise you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So what are some of the the receivers, running backs that you like that fell in a good spot?
I was honestly kind of disappointed with some of the spots for these running backs because it felt like there could have been so many better opportunities where they landed, and some of them are kind of just buried. Like if I'm just going down the list here, you know, Omarion, that's a great spot, obviously, on a team that wants to run the ball and they're not committed to Najee long term. Travion Henderson, that's an okay landing spot. The Pats offensive line is terrible, so he's got an uphill battle there, but and they also gave a big contract to Ramondre, but he's also had his own struggles. He's fumbled the ball. And I think the Pats, with how bad they were on offense last year, they're looking for any spark that they can get. And, he's the definition of a guy that can give you spark.
Stevenson isn't a Vrabel guy. That contract was last year, correct? So that's one thing. That's one thing I look at too, is stuff like that. Did somebody's team offensive line get hurt or get better? But I think Trayvon Henderson will be RB1.
Yeah, I mean he's
maybe for the season. Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, then going down the list, you got Quinshon Judkins. When he gets drafted by the Cleveland Browns, at first you think, okay, it's a pretty solid spot. Not too much competition with Jerome Ford. I mean, he'd obviously still be involved. And then later on, they take Dylan Sampson, and then that you kind of start wondering, I was excited on where Dylan Sampson was going to go, and now the two of them are together, and now it's going to be more of a split, you would think.
Yeah.
So, it's not as much of a slam dunk landing spot as some of the other guys we've already talked about. Caleb Johnson's a good one. He's pretty much the exact replacement for Najee. So if you figure if he's a better Najee and Najee just rattled off 4 straight years of 1,000+ rushing yards, you'll take that any day from a rookie coming out of the draft. And then we already talked about RJ Harvey and how great that spot is. Scatabo, I'm a New York Giants fan, and I have Tyrone Tracy, and I don't know what to make of that situation. Curious to get your guys' take on that one.
Scatterbrains!
I don't think he's too much into Tracy's. I think he'll be a strong RB2 for that team, for the Giants.
You think he'll supplant Tracy, or you think he's going to be a RB2 on the Giants?
RB2 on the Giants. Yeah, he's not going to supplant Tracy. He too much upside. Tracy, speed wise, catching wise, he just needs to fix the fumbling. Scatterbo is not as fast. Scatterbo will get goal line carries though. That's the one problem. He might be, in my opinion, and Shepard doesn't agree with me, but I think he's gonna be. I think he's be touchdown dependent.
I'm a Tyrone Tracy guy too, but I mean, look, we gotta read the Giants on this one. They drafted Cam Scatterbo, top of the 4th. He might have been the late 3rd round pick at that point. Like if he was the 2nd, 3rd pick in the 4th round, Cam Scatterbo looks like he will go to war.
Yeah, he will. He
looks like he's gonna.
He can do everything that Tracy can, but Tracy's just faster.
Okay. He's fair. I'm sure he's probably faster. Cam Scatterbo is definitely a different body type. To answer Joe's question, because I'm sure we're going to be debating this one. Holy smokes. And that's fine, because it's what we have to do. I think Cam Scatterbo will have every opportunity to take over the backfield. It won't happen week 1. I don't think it'll happen week 1. And also, we should also acknowledge, and we were speaking about this the other night, Devin Singletary also does factor in to get onto the field here and there and here. So that we also have to pay attention to that. Devin Singletary is not going away. I think Cam Scatterbo again though. He's got that power. He can turn the corner. He is going to do everything in his power to stay on the field when he has his opportunities. And look, whether Tyrone Tracy, cleans up the fumbling issues, I still think Cam Scatterbo might be the more gifted, more talented running back out of the two. They both can catch the ball.
I was curious. I knew Tyrone Tracy was drafted late. I just looked it up. He was drafted in the 5th round last year in a weaker class by the same front office, and they just took Scatterbo at the top of the 4th, knowing they already have Tracy. So I think, we were just talking about what the coaching decisions tell you about how they feel about a guy. that one, that makes me think that,
Yeah, it makes me think too. It makes me
Yeah.
think Scatterbo.
Yeah.
No, and think of
Yeah.
Rhino. We were just saying that very same thing the other night.
Mhm.
We could also factor in like this is a Heisman finalist. I mean, just reading these tea leaves, just these tea leaves. Now again, we've got a lot of time between now and September to see how this shakes out when it comes to the rookie camps, the mini camps, the training camps, this camp and that camp, and all the coach speak. And we're not going to get, full transparency either. It's not like he's going to say, well, Camp Scottaboo, he's going to be our RB2 Williams. You know what? Maybe we will, but I doubt it. And look, they're gonna work both running backs in. What you want to call it 60-40, call it 60-40. You want to call it 65-35, one way or another, and then I'm not even giving good percentage points to Devin Singletary. That's
Because he's a non-factor now.
Well, he's
Pretty
not.
much.
He's almost a non-factor. Almost. You want to know what a good situation would be to compare it to? Kind of, sort of like Tampa Bay Bucks from last season, when you did see a little bit of what's his name? What's his face?
Bucky.
No,
Tucker.
Tucker.
Rashad White. Oh, Tucker. Yeah.
Tucker.
That's a good one.
That. So I would look at it a little bit like that. Anyway, Camp Scatterboo. That's a great one, man. 4th round draft pick. What else we got?
What's your thoughts on Bashard Smith and not only Bayshawn Tootin, but
Bayshawn Tootin.
That was another one.
The other running back. Oh God, I can't remember his name now. The other running back they drafted in like the 6th or 7th round.
The Jaguars.
Yeah, no, yeah, the Jaguars. Yeah.
Who was it? Oh, LeQuint Allen.
Yeah, LeQuint. Yeah.
LeQuint.
Yeah, that was another one. How's it pronounced? Tootin?
I say Tootin, but that's me.
Tootin's more fun to say. Tootin.
Yeah, it is.
Toot.
That was one where he was getting a lot of hype leading up to the draft in the Dynasty community, and it's another situation where if he had just gone to a spot that had a little less competition, I think people would be a lot more excited about it. But now he's contending with ETN and Bigsby, and those guys both have their flaws too. They're not, they're obviously, they haven't been perfect the last couple of years. But yeah, that's another thing. Like, new coach, not tied to the old regime, bringing in 2 fresh bodies, and you gotta wonder. They've already talked about trading ETN. I don't know how to feel about Bigsby. I haven't heard many trade rumors about him, but he's very limited in the pass game. So it's an interesting spot where he, if he comes in and he performs well, maybe he takes a job from both of them. It feels like a long shot to say that, but at the same time, it's a talented rookie, and they just went out and got him, made it a point to get him. Yeah,
they're saying that that Leon Cohen got his Bucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He got
Tootin, yeah.
That's so true. Yep. And then who's the other guy? You said Brashard Smith.
Yeah, that one was interesting to me because I was surprised he didn't go to somebody earlier that needed that upside of receiving running back.
Yeah, he seems like a perfect fit for the Chiefs and how they just get the most out of those types of players. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife type of guy. And when you think about his competition, I'm not particularly, inspired by another season of giving Kareem Hunt 20 touches a game. Did they also get picked up someone else too, right?
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell.
If he could stay healthy, he's always been interesting.
Amazing that he's he survived. He's still in the league. Right?
Yeah.
To me, it's amazing. And just for the fact that Andy Reid brought him in, that again, reading what the coaches do. But yes, Brashard Smith, kind of. Yeah, I definitely see him operating in some sort of Samaji Perine type of deal. Kareem the Dream. God bless Kareem the Dream. Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, it's a crowded running back room. It's a crowded running back room.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, is that I think for me, when I'm thinking about drafting running backs, I always like to get, at least one stud that I can kind of set it and forget it every week. And then as you get later and later into the draft, it's kind of just looking at where are all the uncertainties, where the picks feel uneasy and you're not as confident. So like the Giants, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, like someone out of those backfields is going to come out on top and is going to be a steal, whether it's Dynasty, Fantasy, or redraft or whatever. And the more shots you can take and get like shares of those backfields, that's kind of how I like to approach it.
Yeah.
Like stack as many of those guys on my bench as I can.
Do you play best ball at all, or just Dynasty?
Sounds like
I've never played best ball before, but yeah, it's an interesting format. It takes a lot of the like in-season strategy out of it for me.
Yeah, but that's where you throw the long darts at pick 20, 18, 19, 20. What about receivers? What are some receivers that land in good spots? Other than Jack Bech, because
that's funny. That's one of the guys that immediately came to mind. He moved up 57 spots after the draft in the rankings.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
He told them on the phone, "I'm a dog. You're getting a dog. I'm a dog. I'm a dog." It was great. It was really, really fantastic. I wonder what that does to Brock Bowers, not just Jack Bech, but this is another fascinating conversation. But yeah, tell us, what are your thoughts on Mr. Jack Beck?
Yeah, when you think about his situation, he's got Jacobian Bowers competing for touches or targets, and after that, it's pretty much wide open. So I think his chances of getting a lot of time on the field are pretty high.
Yeah.
And they just got Geno, so the huge upgrade at the position, the quarterback for this team. And you would think that they're going to be down in a lot of games and passing it a lot. So yeah, he's like an ideal second round rookie draft target for me. I feel like I lean towards opportunity a lot more in those later stages of the draft. I think Trey Harris is another guy around that area in a similar position where he's going to a good offense with a good quarterback and Justin Herbert. There's Ladd, and then there's pretty much no one of serious competition after that. I mean, he'll have to pass who they have, Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson, but it's not like those guys are best in the league. I think he's got a good shot of making some noise if he like makes the most of his playing time. So those two guys are ones that I specifically really like their landing spots, particularly in the late second round. But yeah, what about you guys? What are some other names that you're thinking of?
Savion Williams.
Who?
Yeah.
Savion. Fifth round. That's my 5th round draft pick. Mr. Savion Williams. Come on down, baby.
It'll be interesting how the Higgins and Noel situation play out on Texans too. With Nico Collins. That almost makes me think that they know that Tank's not coming back, which that makes me sad. John Mechie's probably on the outside looking in. I can't, and then Captain Kirk might be gone. It depends who balls out in the preseason. But I'm thinking that one's interesting to me.
They drafted one other guy too, right? Was it Tez Johnson? No, that was Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. It's like, what are you doing, Tampa?
You know
I
that
saw
Tampa.
the grab. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Tampa also drafted Shiloh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, there's again, it's almost like the Texans are duplicating what they attempted to last season when it came to bringing in Stephon Diggs, load up CJ with a lot of weapons, and coming out of the gate, it looked all right, and then due to circumstances, it fell apart. Now, I guess by getting the 2 rookie wide receivers and Christian Kirk, it's probably the chances of you losing all of these guys due to injury is probably slim. But yeah, I would think, I don't know, Rhino and Joe, I would think that Noel and Higgins kind of cancel each other out. They kind of they cannibalize one another. Christian Kirk's the veteran. You don't really see Christian Kirk not playing. Like they just signed him. So I think for Dynasty, I think we all want Higgins first, and then we want Jalen Noel. They both have different skill set. I wanted Jaden Higgins on the Jets, actually, but obviously that didn't happen. But Jaden Higgins, what do you think about this? Jaden Higgins is almost too much like Nico Collins, as far as I'm concerned. They're too tall. They do the same thing. So I don't know. It's probably there's probably dudes that I will be staying away from. And that's just me.
What about Royals going to Kansas City? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's another crowded receiver room. I mean, at this point, it seems like, I don't know if you guys have heard differently, but Rice is probably, I was thinking, last year he was probably going to get suspended 7 or 8 games, but I feel like that conversation has died down a lot, and maybe he doesn't get suspended at all now. And so if you figure you got him and Worthy, and you still got Kelsey, that's already a lot of very, very talented players with not a lot of other room to grow. So I think,
and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I totally forgot about him. And it's another guy where you were more excited about him coming into the draft process, and now he just kind of feels buried, and maybe someone gets injured or suspension happens. I don't know. I mean, Rashee Rice did get injured a couple of years ago, so it's possible, but it's tough to see it right now with everyone healthy.
All right, one more receiver here.
Well, okay.
Alex Tesla, just for me. Alex Tesla.
Tesla?
I had him written down as one of the guys in the 5th round as a dart throw. He seems like a great fit for that team, and I think
is he?
I read that the owner said that that Tesla was their favorite wide receiver in the draft.
Yeah,
and to have that sort of statement for a guy that went. What round did he go in? But he was definitely not the top prospect on the board.
5th or 6th round. Was it late round, 5th or 6th round? Yeah,
it was late.
Yeah, I mean, they're celebrating him like a 1st round pick. It feels like that's how happy they were that they got him.
He's a dog too. Him and Besh. I mean, I saw them playing at the Senior Bowl when I was watching the Senior Bowl. It's like, okay, my radar's on these 2 guys right here. I like that's one of my favorite picks. That's a dart throw too.
And because they've also been talking about maybe trading Jameson too. I feel like I've seen a couple of rumors about that. But yeah.
And to the Jets. What do you think, Steve? No?
No, thank you. No, thank you. I got a good one for you, Joe. And then we'll let you go, because I know the Knicks are on. I want to watch the Knicks. I know you want to watch the Knicks.
I've been I've been peeking out of the corner of my eye. They were up and they kind of gave them back.
Basketball season's over for me now.
But I do have an important question, and who so reminds me of the team, not necessarily about Nick Chubb, who we touched up on a little bit earlier, whether he might get taken there. But what did you make of the Bears selected Colston Loveland? Now, this was not many people's tight end one off the board, and especially that high. We thought that they may go after a tight end, but not Colston Loveland. They might have maybe were thinking about Tyler Warren. I know we mocked Tyler Warren there a couple of times.
Yes.
What do you make of Colston Loveland, and where would you, knowing what we know now, that he's now going to be playing for the Chicago Bears, rest in peace, Cole Kmet, where would we put Colston Loveland in, like how would we stack him with the other tight ends from, like, let's say the 2023 class that had Laporta, Kincaid, I guess who were some of the others?
Right.
Mike Musgrave and Kraft. Yeah. Where would we put Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, for that matter, up against that class? And I guess we could put in Brock Bowers from last season. There's no other tight end to speak of from last season at this point. What's your thoughts on that, Joe?
I don't think anyone is in that Brock Bowers tier. McBride might be kind of close, but Bowers is just different. I think Loveland to the Bears was definitely surprising. They had just paid Cole Kmet too, I think, as well, not too long ago. But apparently, they ran a lot of two tight end sets in his offense in Detroit, so maybe that's kind of why they wanted to get, so they feel good about two guys that they have. Yeah. It's also tough because there's a lot of really great wide receivers on this team now too. They drafted Luther Burden, which was a surprising pick. So I think in year one, I don't think he's going to have like the same level of year one that Bowers and Laporta had. It just feels like there are too many mouths to feed in this offense. But longer term, you figure DJ Moore is not going to be around too much longer. I mean, at this point, they're probably going to move on from Kmet too. So if the offense is going to be focused around Rome, Burden, and Loveland, I mean, it's not bad. And talk to Caleb for his career. Like, Caleb's still got a lot left to prove, but it's a better landing spot than I feel about Tyler Warren, who I have no idea what to make out of that QB situation. It feels really tough for Warren because I think he could have put together a pretty good year in the right landing spot, but I don't feel really good about him on the Colts.
Congratulations, Tyler Warren. You won a trip to the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah,
How about Terrence Ferguson?
Terrence Ferguson?
To the Rams.
Fergie.
Yeah, so what I've been reading on him is that the Rams have a bad history of getting the most out of their tight ends. And it felt like they reached for Terrence Ferguson. I don't think he had a 100-yard receiving game in his college career. I'd have to fact check me on that, but I feel like I remember reading that about Ferguson.
He played for Oregon, so no, he did, but he had like 1,300 yards in receiving last year. I think it's because I'm a Rams fan, as you can tell in the background.
Yeah,
I think it was a good fit. They almost picked him in the first round, but they held back. But
Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, and with Higbee on his last year, it's going to be a smooth thing, a smooth takeover. Plus, you're going to run 12 personnel probably next year too.
The only thing about him, though, is how long is Stafford going to be there and who's going to be replacing him?
Who knows?
that makes me.
I think Stafford might be 1 or 2 more years, at least 1 year.
They got 2 first rounds.
That's why they're doing. That's why they drafted him.
They got 2 first-round picks now.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the quarterbacks, Joe. All right, so yeah, Cam Ward. It's a Tennessee Titan. I happen to like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward could be a very good pro. He could be a very good dynasty / fantasy asset for us. Maybe not certainly. Well, I mean, yeah, he could. He may very well be a good redraft seasonal asset for us, but dynasty for sure. What did you make of not him necessarily? Well, you know what? Why don't you tell us whether you were high on Cam Ward, whether you thought that perhaps maybe Shador was your QB1 or Jackson Dart, any of the other quarterbacks that you liked other than Cam Ward, if you liked Cam Ward. Because not everyone was all that high on Cam Ward. We all had to slot him in as the first overall pick. You know, it was just that it was so early in the process. It was a wrap. After the combine, it was like a wrap.
Yeah.
Or no, his pro day, actually. I think it was the pro day because he didn't do anything at the combine. When he was like, take me. But yeah, I know you had Shador Sanders on your bingo card for round. Give it to us.
I thought he was going to go to the Steelers at 21.
Mm-hmm. So did everybody else.
There's no shame.
Yeah.
There's no shame.
Yeah.
So did Phil Yates.
Yeah.
Or what's not Field? Maybe not Field Yates. Mel Kiper.
Yeah, Mel was not happy about that slide.
Everyone thought he was
No,
going.
he wasn't.
In any event, I mean, we don't need to sit here and debate the reasons why he did fall. We all know what those reasons are. But now that he is a 5th round pick, he's got to fight through a bunch of people to maybe get a spot on the roster. What do you make of that situation briefly? And also, how about Jackson Dart to your Giants? How about
Tyler Shaw.
Tyler Shooky Shook to the Saints? Tyler Shook and his dog to the Saints.
Yeah, what's the pronunciation of that?
Shook.
It's Shook.
Shook. You would never think it's Shook, but it's Shook.
That's just me. I say Shaw, but
let me tell you, say Shaw if you want. We should come up with another. We should call him Tyler Dog. What a beautiful dog. But Jackson Dart, Jackson Dart to the Giants, man. That I think that. Look, I think that if you were going to go back into the first round, not going after Shador Sanders, because I didn't think that was the play from the get-go. I was pleasantly surprised and happy for Jackson Dart because this is someone that does not have to get inserted right away. Let Brian Dable do whatever magic we all think he may have in terms of developing a quarterback, and boom, let's see what happens down the road.
Yeah. I think this quarterback class, I wasn't, wasn't too excited about any of them really. I think Cam Ward was obviously the top guy, but even him, they've talked about him in where he would have slotted if he was in last year's class, and they might have had like Penix and McCarthy over him. So he would have been, what would that have been, the 6th or 7th best quarterback in last year's class? And so I don't know, we'd probably be thinking of him very differently if he's not the number 1 pick. But he probably goes to a better team, sliding down later in the draft. But I'm not too crazy about any of these guys. I mean, Dart is, as a Giants fan, I've been reading all the hopium about him and that Dable can mold him into someone down the line, but he's in a pretty crazy QB room for this year with Jameis and Russell. So that'll be interesting. I hope it works out, obviously. I think my dark horse for who's going to be the best QB out of this class is going to be Milroe. And, now they got Darnold in front of them. And there's obviously a lot of debate on, was last year for real and is he going to replicate it, or was that kind of just like flash in the pan in a great system? I kind of believe that. I see you nodding as well.
So
yeah,
in the pen.
He went to a team that had the 29th ranked freaking offensive line too, and they got Zrabel, in the draft, but it doesn't make sense anyway. Yeah,
I mean, Milrose Raw. He's got a lot of work to do as a passer. It sounds like, but he could also rush for 1,000 yards if given the opportunity. And based on everything that I've seen about him, he seems like quality person too. Like comes from a military background, academic Heisman, coaches, and everyone just raves about him, how hard he works. So you put that type of like raw talent and that type of work ethic together, you think, he's probably got a good shot of figuring something out. And with the rushing upside, that's what you need in QBs these days to compete. You saw it with Jaden Daniels last year breaking Dynasty and fantasy football. So yeah, it probably won't happen this year, but maybe next year is a coming out party.
I think so too.
We know Seattle wants to run the ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do come out with some packages for him during the season, though.
Yeah.
I think they already are on record to saying something along those lines, that they have intentions to utilize him, like utilize the weapon that he is as of now, and then to the point that Joe was making, he's so raw. So I mean, someone's gonna have to get him to be QB ready. But we know Seattle wants to run the ball. Yeah, no, I like the pick. I like the dude. I don't like the team, but I do like the dude.
Yeah,
for sure. And then Quinn Ewers, man. Quinn Ewers wound up in like the absolute. All right, if I thought Jalen Milroe wound up in a bad spot, Quinn Ewers, I don't know how. Wow. I mean, I'm not big on the Dolphins. I could get into a whole thing right now. I don't believe in the coaching there. I believe in McDaniel if he was a coordinator still, because what did they say about that? What they said about this Liam Cohen, who comes from McDaniel. I mean, like, okay, and McDaniel comes from McVay, right? So it's like it's all part of that tree, but not McDaniel as a head coach. McDaniel as an offensive coordinator, I can get behind, and that's it. I'm just gonna stop right there. We are about out of time. Rhino, did you have anything else before we let this Dynasty Goat take off?
Yeah, just one quick question.
Yes.
How far along are you on your app, the Dynasty Pulse app?
So the app is, I had it live for a little bit and it was a little buggy, so got some work to do there. That's probably going to be a next season thing. In all honesty, I think I bit off more than I could chew working on it part-time. So next year is probably the goal to get something like that live. But the mobile site, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out.
It's nice. It's very well.
Still work in progress for sure, and we got a lot of big ideas on ways to improve it. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a lot of fun to work on it. I'm just passionate about Dynasty and can see myself working on this for a really long time.
All right, and let me go one more time how to get your newsletter and subscribe.
Yeah, dynastypulse.com. Right on the homepage, enter your email, you'll get the newsletter. You'll start to get some information about like what the service is, and if you ever wanted to try out premium, there are ways to do that and get learn more about it.
Premium's good. I recommend premium if anybody subscribes. I recommend doing that.
Oh, premium for the goats. Only premium. All right, well, Joe, man, this has been spectacular. Fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of fun, guys. Really appreciate it.
Definitely, I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome to come back at any time. If we could do anything to assist you, support your efforts, with the Dynasty Pulse, please always feel free to reach out to Rhino, myself. You know how to get in touch with us on the X Machine. Man, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I wish your teams luck. I mean, not if we're playing one another, but I wish you much success. Otherwise.
Thanks, guys. Same to you. Really appreciate you guys inviting me on. It was a lot of fun.
And we'll have to maybe right before the season revisit and see if anything's changed and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening. Good luck to your Knicks. Lakers.
Yeah. My stream crapped out on me in the last 10 minutes or so. I have no idea where they stand. So we'll see.
No. The way you're wishing the Knicks luck with a smile on your face, as if we are just basking in success for like the longest period of time as a basketball team. You don't understand the type of hell that the New York Knicks have been in. We have
Patrick Ewing.
It's been since that practically. All right. So when you're wishing us luck, please be a little bit more sincere about it.
I am sincere.
All right, Goats. We will be back early next week. Monday or Tuesday, we will start cranking out the mock drafts, baby. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where you're watching this right now. Don't forget to like the videos that you're watching right now. And we will see you again. Thank you very much.